Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first OCL podcast. My name is DiceHeart and joined today by Jbetto.
Jbetto,
Jbetto.
Juggernaut, Beto, whatever you want to say.
God, I love Juggernaut Betto. And the whole purpose of this podcast is for us to have an opportunity to talk about OCL, talk about Smite in general, go over some of
Yeah,
our opinions about the meta.
yeah, without being on cast, so we don't
So,
have to be TOC.
yeah. We can be a lot more controversial as well. I can
Well,
finally
yeah,
start
it's about
talking
being
about.
us instead of being casters, because being casters is fun, but like we don't really get to have opinions.
Yeah, correct. Think I'll still limit myself to what I say about players and teams and that to an extent.
I'm not gonna go off the rail and say like controversial stuff, but I'm gonna say like what I think.
Well, I
I'm,
mean,
I'm,
fuck Fury. That's my opening statement. I think that's the right way to go.
absolutely. Fury, get them out of here.
Who
Bro.
mega lol? Um,
Hey, I came from Fury.
you sure did, and look at you now. It's
Still
probably
dog shit.
probably an interesting place to start. Actually, like I think all of the tier list stuff that's been going on is
Yeah,
probably an interesting place to take this.
yeah, it's very interesting.
I know that you think that you're criminally underrated in some tier lists. Why don't you tell
It's
me?
not specifically it's not specifically me, it's just the people that are placed next to me that bother me. I don't really care where I'm placed. It's like, okay, fine, you can rate me here next to like whatever solo landers, blah blah blah, where you think I am. But like it's when you put like I'm not gonna drop names because that's pretty BM.
Yes.
I've made it clear in my tier list. If you can go and reference that, that's where I think everyone should be. But it's where people who are like several tiers below me and it's like put them in that tier. I just disagree. I think though the problem with tier lists, and I kind of ran into it a little bit, is it's very difficult. For first of all, for the top people who are really good to like sort out people who are worse than them.
Yeah.
And obviously it's the same for people below. Like it's really hard to be like this person's better than this person if they're above you. So it's hard on both ends.
Yeah.
And then the other one is that because there's a lot of people, it's quite difficult to order them properly. Like I'll even the shit ones or the good ones. It's hard to be like this person is shitter than this person or this one is better than this person when it's really close. There are a lot of like placements that are close. Like I think tier list should be done that way anyway.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, this person's better than this person, this person's better than this first person. But like, you know, it's a lot easier on something like Call of Duty maps or something.
Yeah,
where
100%.
it's your objective opinion and it's just about like how the map plays, the graphics, that kind of stuff. Where in Smite it's, you know, I'd love to add in a lot of things, god pool, mechanics, comms. I can't possibly know that for everybody. Nobody can.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like probably as casters we've got a better perspective on some of those things because we've now
And
seen
team, like we're scrimming them as well.
Yeah, and we're scrimming them as well. So we like I think have probably a pretty good view overall of like where a lot of these players sit,
Yeah,
what their
I
god
think
pools look like.
I was the biggest thing that I was thinking of when I was making it actually, and I don't have a problem saying this about this person because I think they're actually pretty good. So is about Corbara,
Yeah.
right? And he looks really bad on his team. Like when we scrim him, I don't feel him at all.
Yeah.
But I know that he is good because I've played against him when obviously he was better than me. Like I was much worse and he was much better because he's taken time off. That's fair. But yeah, that's definitely a downfall of the tier list thing where your team can bring down how good you feel.
Yeah, 100%.
Like solo, yeah, it's very rough. Like obviously, if you put one of the S tier players or the A plus players on like a really bottom team, they're gonna make a difference. They're gonna show that they aren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But when it's like a team that like is average and you've got a above average player or even a great player, it's very hard, in my opinion, in comp specifically, to shine and to show off. So it was pretty hard. It was pretty hard to make.
Yeah, that's something that specifically like talking to a few people when they were putting together tier lists, like the comment about solo laners specifically, that you know a really top tier player, even on the worst team in the league, should be able to almost carry the game against like mid tier teams. And that would show that they're a top tier player if they were a solo laner, or if they're an ADC.
Yeah, if they were like an S player. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you definitely feel that with like Shank being there. Like that's a big one that I can't remember who we scrimmed on our old team, but him being there made such a difference.
We
It was
we
just
lost a game that we against a team that we'd never lost to as soon as Shank was there.
yeah, and he was doing things that I'd never seen before. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, I think as well
Yeah.
though, like the tier lists are definitely some names are definitely brought down by the team that they're on, and it's super hard to shine on certain teams.
Mm.
But I think as well, like there are definitely players who look a lot better on particular teams when they're surrounded by certain players.
Oh, of
Um,
course.
I think you look at like Flix is probably a good example. His current team, he looks a hell of a lot better than he did last season. I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um,
He does look a lot better.
they've been taking good scrims. They've been having good games against chickens. They've beaten us before.
Yeah.
Um, I think that they've had close matches with OBB as well. So, like compared to last season, he's looking a lot better than he was. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
So
definitely think that
definitely.
it has the opposite effect as well on the tier lists.
So yeah, it was pretty difficult. I still stand by like at least roughly what I put, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. It's also like it's also really difficult when I'm talking about like people who like specifically like if I'm talking about like a solo laner,
Mm.
the only thing that I can ever see is their lane, and
Yep.
the team fight is so different. Like I always say this that Sean isn't like special in lane. Like he's not better than anybody. But when it goes to team fights, he's just a different animal. Like he just destroys fights. He destroys teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fine. He trolls sometimes. But like I've played against him when he was like playing a real pick with a real build, and it's just like okay,
It's just a
it's not
learning
bad. He's
phase.
not bad. He doesn't suck.
Yeah.
It's not any better than me or them or legs or abs. It's not any better than the top solos. But
Yeah.
then he rotates out, and
It's
it's
just
just
ridiculous.
completely different. Obviously, that's because I think he's like a jungler, and his like game knowledge and his fight knowledge is just really really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's another aspect on top that makes it really difficult to judge. Obviously, he's up in S, so it's not hard. But like everybody else,
Yeah, it makes a big difference. I think in those like mid to lower tiers, even like the upper,
yeah,
like even A plus tier area. When you're looking at that, like yeah, it makes it super hard to look at those players like that and go like, yeah, this person's definitely a top tier player when like
yeah,
you know we've beaten them before or we've had
yeah.
close
Well,
games with them and I
yeah,
felt
yeah, yeah.
fine versing them.
And yeah, and especially like it's not like we've played against these players for years on end. Like obviously some people have, but
Yeah,
others who haven't on these teams, especially like there's just a lot of aspects that get it. And then obviously like the meta as well. Like
especially
certain
this
people,
meta.
yeah, in SPL. So of course it's going to affect us. Like everybody, people have different metas. The top teams changing all the time. Obviously it's a bit different because at that level, most teams are pretty close.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
the meta can change like who's good and who's bad. Like if it's a such and such meta, like you know
oh yeah.
whoever might just suck or somebody else might be really really good at it. You know
Well, there's a
for
really good
whatever reason.
example of that. Like when you're looking at it role specifically rather than team specifically, like the
Mm.
support meta obviously shifted heaps in the most recent patch. Like that's not in doubt at all.
The
But like,
balance one or
no,
the
no,
one where the loners one.
the Lonos one and all of that.
Yeah, yeah,
So like the support meta, because we've had so many different support metas in the past. Like we've had assassin support metas, warrior support metas, mage support meta, guardian support meta. Like it changes. It's changed throughout the years quite significantly, and like
mm.
certain support players are just not capable of playing like the assassin support meta because it requires you to constantly be at their buffs invading and like
Yeah. It's a different game.
it is a different game and you're absolutely
The,
right, like those metas definitely change how particular players are.
yeah, it's a bit different now because of the like post 9.5 or whatever it was
Mm,
9.4 with the base protection increase and base health increase. But like, there's a big difference in solo specifically like between like when there's a tank meta and when there's like a squishier meta because when it you feel really safe. Sure, it's boring and like I think it's boring now because I'm a lot better. But like back a year or whatever, I would have been very very happy to have a meta with like Warriors X T1 defense or like Warriors X Chalice 5 health pots because you just don't die.
yeah, so survivable.
But then you'd go from that to like like an assassin bluestone meta,
Yeah.
and that's it's not as much now. Maybe I just feel like that because I don't really die anymore in the beginning of the game. I just know how to. Oh, like everybody does, I guess. Like, yeah, you learn.
Yeah.
But like I remember that plenty of times where those kind of metas would just destroy me. I'd be very, very passive. It's one of the reasons why I started playing really passive in lane was because it is difficult. Like going between the two, and it takes time to adapt sometimes.
Yeah, I think that that's probably a key point as well. Like when you're looking at player skill, is their adaptability. Like I think Vintage is a really good example of that as well. Like when last season he was subbing in for the Chickens, and they told me this, and I think Vintage agreed as well. Like they played a scrim with him, and he was just dog shit. Like he had come back for the first time, and he could not get a handle on what to do. And within like the
Yeah.
next 2 scrims, he was back to being one of the best mids in OCA. Like it was incredible.
Yeah,
And
I'm not surprised.
that's just pure adaptability. Like being able to go, okay, I can adapt to this meta. I can adapt to new gods picks, all of that sort of stuff, and what's going on. And I think that is pretty defining feature of a top tier player.
Yeah, the cow never fails when you need him the most.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember
He's
that.
Vintage.
Yeah, but I'm really interested to see what's coming like next patch because obviously even in SPL in OCL as well, the jungle has been like a really really strong point of picks and bans. You got like Nem, obviously a strong one.
Yeah.
You got Erlang, Osiris, and then specifically in OCL like Kali still being played, Merc still being played, Daji and both of them still being played.
Daji, yeah.
But Osiris and Erlang are both taking pretty significant
Very
nerfs.
significant nerfs.
The Osiris tether nerf is
It's huge.
ridiculous.
It's huge, yeah. I agree with
and
that.
I think the Erlang one is going to be pretty decent as well.
I think like we saw the original Erlang nerf come through as well that changed his kit. Specifically getting rid of that knock up, and like he saw no play for a bit until the new Xyz came in, and to now nerf him again, I think he's gonna feel like dog shit, even with the new Xyz. Like, I don't see him seeing that much play. I think this is gonna hit him super hard, and I guess same thing with Osiris as well. Like the tether is such an important part of his kit, and the reason that you pick him in solo or jungle.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well,
that's such a
he's just
huge help.
as well. It's very interesting because we're in a really really late game, like meta game, I guess. Like,
Well, the game goes forever now, so
yeah, exactly. But warriors are typically really strong in the early game. Obviously, if you build Mana Conceptor and full damage on warriors, they still do a lot of damage. But like, you typically don't. I mean, sorry, you do. We're still seeing Nem, still seeing obviously an OCL, Merc, and Kali, but we're not really seeing loads of late game junglers. Like, I don't know. There's still, to me, Osiris is a really early game god.
Yep.
Destroys the early game, and besides his tether, which now is getting nerfed into the ground, doesn't really provide much besides slows.
Yeah, I mean you've got the anti-heal as well, but like,
it's one person, and trust me, it's hard to hit.
It's not one person.
If you happen to hit 3 people standing completely on top of each other,
I'm about to hear you say that you're bad at the game because you just there's 3 people there, and then it's a big circle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with you. Either way, I wouldn't want you playing Osiris in the next meta anyway, because we know that you're going to be picking only Ganesh at this point in solo lane.
Yeah, only Ganesh. That was so funny, dude. I was mad.
I know you were,
because I was talking with Nyx about like picks, and I was like, yeah, because we had a scrim with her, right?
We didn't need scrim them,
and I was like, yeah, this pick was alright. These two just sucked shit. Like, I don't know why you picked them. Yeah. Like, because it's fine if you were trolling, but like, if you're asking me for advice, obviously you weren't.
Yeah.
So, and then we talked about the meta for a bit, and she played Arthur in the recent game, and she looked really good on it. I was impressed. So
yeah.
Did like we were talking about Final Game for a bit. She says she watches him, and I said, yeah, just. If you're ever confused, just build, like, listen to him. So she did it. She did an SPL build, looked good. And then she picked, I thought it was going to be Sobek, and I was like, that's fine. I think you do better on the run it down gods anyway. Like, it looked more comfortable. But I could see the Sobek working. I wasn't as against it as Lath was. But then it was Ganesh. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is not the game you need to be trolling.
And not troll.
it did so much damage. That was bizarre.
It was ridiculous. I think, like, to your point about like the Sobek and that, on the cards we were kind of not keen to see the Sobek and solo lane Because I mean,
This
you
is
pick a
boring.
Sobek and then you pick a Ganesh, and you go, yeah, okay. Because like her impact on the King Arthur was so significant. She was doing really well in lane, doing a lot of damage,
She did do
and
really well, yeah.
like got who was she versing? Harry really really low, constantly under his tower, if not dead. On the
Yeah,
King
I
Arthur,
mean, he was what T2 solely to Loki, so I'm not surprised. But
True.
yeah, she did well.
But, like-
The good bit there is that she punished someone for doing stupid shit, which is
That's
what
true.
that's the first step into getting like better. You can't just let them do something like that. You pick King Arthur, go a real build, and then get floored.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Ganesh, I was just in shock. Like I saw multiple people get either half or 100% health by that, and like yeah, Ganesh
Yeah.
ult is the highest damaging ability in the game.
But
But you still don't expect to see that. Like she was not full build at the points where she was half healthing and nearly killing people. And
yeah,
I don't know, man, that's insane.
yeah. Obviously, it wouldn't have mattered what I'm about to say, but when I play it in scrims or in matches, hint, wink, wink, hint, hint. I will be going double damage, but then I'm going to go defense after. I don't think going. I talked with you about this last night. That going Soul Reaver Obshard is, unless you're going Rangdas, is not the play. If she went Rangdas, full damage, I was happy. But
yeah,
if you're going Conduit, you just don't do enough damage. Like you and you're too squishy. You need to have defense, especially in that game where, like, fine, Shigo had crit. He was not getting shut down as much as he should have been, and then Yugi was doing lots and lots and lots of damage.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, fine, you can do a lot of damage to them, but you die in like 2 autos.
Yeah, true. And like you kind of in this meta especially need your solo laner to be able to be that tanky frontliner. I guess like the team comp that they built kind of suited looking to pick someone out. Like you've got Sobek pluck, and then you can kind of follow it up with the Ganesh damage and
Look, I don't hate it. I like it, but
Mm.
I just think, yeah, you could actually have frontlined and dove with
Yeah,
Ganesh with that
and
build.
still
The
done
amount of damage,
that
it
much
was
damage
still
comfortably.
threatening.
Yep.
You still had the CC for the jungler. The silence is impactful. Having to beads Ganesh silence to run away feels awful.
Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if she had gone like, I don't know, some cooldown in there, like had no cooldown in the build.
She get a breastplate and a
a breastplate and a
mantle
spirit robe,
or a spirit robe, yeah.
like I'll start like a decent amount of defense, maybe a spectral.
Yeah.
Genji's or something, and I don't know. I feel like it would have worked a lot better. Obviously, it didn't. I don't think it would have mattered because I think it was a team thing, not an individual play thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing actually that I've been really enjoying, and I'm keen to pick up in scrims or a game is the Horus solo. I really like it. I think we saw it in OCL this weekend.
Someone did pick it. I think it was Shell Shocked picked it.
Yeah, with the Baron support, right? I really liked that comp.
No, did Shell Shock pick it? I swear, no. Chris only played
it was that
Osiris.
game. It was that game.
It was that game, which means it had to have been Desto's team.
Like, sorry, it was that set. It wasn't set 2. It was set 1.
Yeah, it was set 1.
Yeah, I actually really like it. I was really on the fence about it before, but I think that the build works so much better in like Horus. The things you want to build on him work so much better in solo than support. He does really well with Axe, like breastplate. Genji's CAD shield, the Glad shield's good too, but like upgrading to Hero's Axe, just teleporting people around the map, I feel like it works way better in solo than support.
I agree with that. Like he definitely had his time to shine in support for a little while there.
Until they nerfed his ult into the floor.
Well, they did do that. They also like there's no more Talaria boots, and you lose so much value off of Horus without Talaria boots.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
move
true.
through the sky nearly as quickly anymore.
Golden Blade helps a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, Golden Blade's something. The map is just
you wouldn't be
bigger
building
as
that
well
on support.
than then. But also, like Blackthorn got nerfed into the ground. Sledge was his other really core support item, and that's gone. Like you're not building Sledge Horror support anymore. That's for sure. So,
dude, that's so boring. I hate that. Like, why? I don't understand this thing that that Hi-Rez does, where it's like, we don't want anything out of role.
Yeah.
It's kind of boring. I like Sledge being. I like the hammers. I really like the hammers. I like the shields as well on in solo.
Yep.
And I know the whole blah blah jungle abuses them bullshit. Either surely there's a workaround, or just stick it up. Like,
yeah,
up with it.
I do not understand that whole thing about. I agree with you about. We only want these roles playing in these lanes. Like we only want Guardians and
Berserker Shield only being able to build, like, not being able to build by Hunters. Why?
Yeah, why?
What's the point?
Well,
it gives attack speed and no power.
If
like
you...
now, this specifically this Berserker Shield. Old Berserker Shield,
Yeah,
fine.
old
It gave you
Berserker
percent pen,
Yep.
and it, I think the Berserk passive gave you power or something.
Yeah.
Fine. I like it more now. After playing with it, at least, I was a bit upset about it. But like, I guarantee you, hunters wouldn't be building the item now. It's not good on them.
It's not worth it. So why restrict it to not being able to, like, them not
Yeah,
being
so
able to
that
build
I
it?
can't troll and pick a hunter solo and then build Berserker Shield. It's
Yeah.
such a good item specifically for that. Like, that doesn't work. Like, yeah, hunters are meta right now in solo, or like not super meta, but you can play them, and I
Chernobog.
guarantee you they're not going to be building prots.
Yeah, no, you're not getting Berserker Shield Chernobog solo at the moment, that's for sure.
No, but
you're
it's
still
fun.
doing the same build, like, you're still getting crit.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
There are some that I get, I guess, like, is it, can Bauble not be picked up by anyone? Or is it the Wings one that can only be picked up by hunters and mages? That makes sense, I guess, because, like,
I
first
think
of all,
can
it
be
doesn't...
built on everyone.
Well, I know the Wings one, the Ataxi one, can't be picked up on everyone. And, that, like, fine.
Whatever.
Literally 2 classes can use it.
Yeah.
There's 2 Guardians with ranged autos, there's no Warriors with ranged autos.
Yep.
I don't think there's any Assassins either. So fine, like, whatever, that makes sense. And
Hey.
there are some other ones, like the Fail Not, those ones
Yep.
only working on physical and magical, like blah blah whatever, that's fine. But the ones where it's like, oh, we can't figure out how to balance this item, let's just not let them build it, like, that's
It's
boring.
ridiculous. Yeah, I agree. Like, there's so many items in the game that are just entirely unbuildable, and it's purely off of like one meta where they were broken, and so they had to be like they over nerfed it. I think
Yeah, like Gaia.
Gaia is a great example. Mail of Renewal is another good example. We had a Mail
Yeah.
of Renewal meta where literally 10 people in the game. Same as when Benevolence was ridiculous. Like 10 people in
That
the
was
game would
funny.
build it.
That was really funny.
It was. Mail of Renewal was the same thing. You would have 10 people in the game built with Mail of Renewal, and they would just not die. But like, and that's ridiculous, and you should nerf that. But why is it nerfed to the point where you have an item that is never going to be built? Like, it would
Yeah,
have
it's not
0%
playable.
build rate.
Well, that's
It's
the thing, like,
ridiculous.
Gaia as a whole isn't really great, and it was never like, the only, unless I'm forgetting a place that it was like ridiculous, but it was good because what it did was it replaced the old Glad Shield healing. That's originally why it started getting picked up on like Arthur and people, because the in lane HP 5 was ridiculous.
Yep. Yep.
It doesn't, like, sure, anti-heal, and yeah, like the knock-up healing is fine, blah blah blah, but like anti-heal even before the what's it called, like the out of combat healing, which Glide Shield kind of initiated anyway.
Yeah,
It
pretty
was
much.
like, which fine, yeah, it's boring, I get it. Like, I don't like it being around all the time, but having it be out of the game for 2 years,
It's ridiculous.
it's pretty boring.
We had, I mean, Gaia used to be a core way back in the day. Gaia used to be a core item for support. Like, you would go.
Was that the counter root, the one where it gave you the immunity to roots and stuff instead of healing? Is that the one we're talking about? Because I remember Guy used to do that. They've reworked it where it used to, once you got hit by one of the CCs that now like gives you the heal, it would just it would cleanse that specific CC.
Stone of Gaia. I'm looking it up. I don't think it did.
Okay, I might be remembering wrong, but I could have sworn it does that. I know that, like, when I took time off and came back, it was different.
Yeah. I'm trying to find what its original.
I'm gonna look up too, so we have 2 people looking.
You're a genius.
That is not
Find
how
the
you spell
history.
stone. Gaia, Smite. Let's just go season 2.
Would have been back then that it was a core support item, I'd say.
That's the new one.
Shit, man. I can't
Duke
remember.
Sloth 2017. Is
Nah.
this where I want to go?
Probably too recent still, I'd say. And that's too recent as well. Oh.
Really, 2017? That's quite a few years ago.
It would have been
Keep
like
going.
back in the day, because what we used to do, we used to build like supports back in the day. Used to get like watchers into Midas boots, watchers gift Midas boots, because they were ridiculous. Midas boots gave you so much gold.
Yeah, the gold thing.
Then you would get Sov, which was basically what Thieves is now. So you got
Right,
physical
yeah,
and
yeah.
magical prot off of it, and then you would get Stone of Gaia, which had magical prots on it.
Okay.
And it was just a solid item. I can't remember what the rest of it was. It might have just been ridiculously good HP 5 at the time. Yeah, I miss those days. I miss Midas boots so much as well, bro. Like, I guess we kind of have items that do relatively the same
Wasn't
thing.
that ridiculous though?
Yes, yes, it was. Like you could very comfortably be support with top gold just because you had Midas boots.
Yeah.
And like some of those starter items do give you gold, but they're limited to you have to be within range of certain people, and you have to be getting it's off of the assists on minion kills and that, which is much more balanced. Don't get me wrong, but it's certainly hard to finish a support build right now. I'll tell you that much
Yeah,
for free.
that's a bit. It's not great. Support's not in the best spot. I
It's in a
think
better
definitely
spot
if
than
we
it
were going,
was.
yeah, if we're going to make changes to the game, I think that is where I would start.
Support, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you.
I mean, like I personally, I wasn't there for it,
Mm.
wasn't around, but I think invade meta would be fun. I know people don't like it. I know. But I personally, I like getting punished for. Like, I don't like when it happens to me, but I like punishing. Like, feel like you should be punished if you play the game badly.
But it wasn't about skill. Because invade meta
Right.
was literally like you have your current starts on the map now, right? Which obviously on your side of the map.
Yeah, and the support's job is just to follow the jungler around and make it difficult to play the game.
Invade meta was literally you start the game on the other
Ugh.
side of the map. You start the game on their side of the map, and whoever picked the earlier pressure gods would steal
Yeah.
all the buffs and win the game off of that. It was ridiculous. Invade meta
Mm.
wasn't like I've played the game well, and so throughout the entire game I've been able to steal speed buffs. It was okay. I'm going to 5-man their red buff at the start of the game when it spawns.
Yeah.
And it was fucked. And it was fucked. It was fucked. That's all I can say. Like it was definitely fun if you were the one invading. There were definitely some pluses to that, but it literally like in comp it was if I pick an early game enough team comp, I will successfully get off the invade. I'll probably get a kill, and we'll steal all of their buffs, and their mid lane is never going to recover from it, and that's super fucking boring.
What would you like if you could make like unlimited changes to the game or like, minimal, whatever you want. Like what would you do? What would you change?
I think I would change items very specifically, purely because like we just don't have enough variety in the items, and I think that would shake up the game more than the way that they're trying to change the map to change the meta.
Okay.
And the way that they buff and nerf certain things to change the meta. Like if we had a variety of builds, it would feel a hell of a lot better in Smite. And like we kind of used to have that. Like you could have, the dirty bubble build, and we had, the glass cannon ADC build. But like now, it doesn't matter what. There's always a standout core build that you go now, and that's super fucking boring.
Yeah.
Like
I see. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that. I would much prefer to have a Smite meta where you've got 3 different possible ADC builds, and that I think would create counter building as well. Like bring actual real counter building back into Smite. I know we've had that conversation before, but then it's like the ADC is going a glass cannon build, so I'm going to build this.
Yeah. It's more thought about it rather than just like build this every game and you're fine. Yeah.
What about you?
I think my first change would be revert the minion. I don't care about the like the protections or health. If people like that change, that's fine. The bullshit change is the making buffs and minions, specifically buffs, just unkillable for the first 15 minutes of the game. The fact that red buff is the hardest thing in the map to clear is ridiculous. But I think to counter that, I don't really get it. I think we should add CS to the game, like creep score.
Yeah,
I think that would make it much more fun in lane. And I think, but you still need to keep the minions maybe not as weak as they were. I don't hate it being a little tankier. The buffs definitely need to either go back or make it like. Obviously, in League it's different because I don't play League, but I don't know if like mid is killing their own buff. But it's so boring.
Yeah, it is super fucking boring.
Because at the time where the second red and spawns, there's so much shit that your jungler wants to be doing besides helping you kill red buff. Or there are so many times where I've been playing Ra like in a casual and I'm just like ulting the buff at level 5 because I just can't fucking kill it. And the support rotating over is ridiculous. And then making every starter a jungler starter is boring too. That's weird. I like it, but that's weird.
Yeah, it is strange. There's so many. Yeah, It's ridiculous.
I think what they need to do is I understand the whole we don't like you don't like the snowball aspect. Personally, don't really care. Like I've been in games where it's like that and it's fine. Like I understand it sucks, but I feel like if you play shit in the early game, you should not be even. Obviously, it doesn't happen like that in comp, but so maybe removing some of the XP on the map. Like there's just way too much shit to do.
Yeah, I think like especially for a jungler, like it is not value at all to gank a lane unless
Yeah.
it is
Unless you're getting something.
specifically for the purpose of getting an objective of it or getting an invade off it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Like it's cool to have all these things in the game. The obelisk is fun. The scorpions are fun. Like fighting over things, and it's better than it was with, like I said, with cups,
Yeah.
with the like milking, with the scorpions. It is fun. It's better than it was. But
It was, yeah.
even now, and definitely before those two things got added, it's just so boring.
You just are
There's
never
just-
going to see me team fight over a cup though. Like if you
No,
ever
of
catch
course-
me
yeah,
saying
no.
we're even on cups, this one's about to spawn 5-man this cup
Let's 5-man their obelisk
and fucking
this
milk
is the
it.
game here.
Slap
I didn't
the
even
shit
hate.
out of me.
I liked it being worth more gold. I don't know why they had to nerf that.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Like,
actually like that as well.
Getting gold for every cup was or
Ridiculous.
flower.
Yeah, the flowers
was
was
weird.
ridiculous.
But like completing your obelisk should be worth more. Maybe scorpions are worth more, only to provoke fighting over them and in making invading them better. Because, like, yeah, sure, you're taking it away from them. That's fine. That's great. And yeah, obelisk is cool and it's fun. But obviously, teams, it's not going to go back to the way it was back in like a few years ago when people would just be fighting all the time because we
there's
understand
nothing else to
that
fucking do.
fighting for one team equals losing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be that team, so that's fine. But I still think it would make it a bit more interesting, and that would also make the game go longer because there isn't as much farm up.
Yeah, that's true. I think in fairness, like a good team will use the trebuchet really well, and we've seen that.
Oh, definitely.
Of recent as well, like how much value you can get, like from what we learnt, you and I learnt, doing VOD review with OBB, like the amount of value you can get off of a trebuchet, and like even in scrims at some point, we literally got the first trebuchet of the game.
Yeah, we took a T1 and T2,
which
right?
was T2. Like Regan just kept pushing because he had a trebuchet, and we started a team fight near the pyromancer, and he just kept pushing the trebuchet. Like you can get a lot of good value out of it. So
I like it. I don't hate that. I like that a lot better than the tower buff or whatever the Draugr was.
Yeah, the Draugr was.
So
fun.
I don't hate it. I just think that there's too much farm. There's Sharpies up. There's fuck me. ADC, if you have pressure, has 3 camps to get.
Yeah, it's not
in
it's not,
one roll.
Not good.
Yeah, sure. Mid camps are all great, and oracles and back harpies. Oh, I guess it's just red buff. Sorry, green buff now, and red buff, and then 2 back camps for junglers plus scorpion cups at 6 minutes. There's so much to do, and the problem is that I know that it's like, oh, just play the macro game. Like that's what the game is. It's PVE. Yeah, fine, but it's really boring to PVE for 30 minutes. And then lose as well.
I would hate to be a jungler and PVEing for 30 minutes and like knowing that this lane is behind, but I can't go over there because
it always feels bad to like it's. I think there's something wrong when you start going, if we team fight, we lose the game. Like that's fine. It's like it's not Call of Duty. You can't just run at them. Like this isn't a child's game. This isn't Fortnite. Fine. Like I get it. I like the macro aspect. It's a skill and it's great and all, but yeah, it's just too much.
Yeah, I agree.
From my lane, it's really boring.
We definitely have had metas in the past as well where there wasn't anywhere near as much farm on the map, and so like mid camps were team fought over. Like you would engage.
I remember Dylan talking
team
about
fight.
that.
Yeah, he would have done because he would have been around during that as well. Like you would hard commit to a team fight at the mid camps to secure the mid camps, and like normally you would then go to the Gold Fury or something like that because you want to fucking team fight.
Well, the other thing as well is having less things. It's like right now, it's like okay, cool, they got something, and that's value, but we don't give a fuck because there's so much shit that we can be doing. Like, oh, cool, Totem's really cool, great, and oh no, I lost it. But then there's, like I said, 2 Sharpies. Like I can rotate for back camps, I can rotate for mid camps, and it's so easy. Back in the day, if like I remember like Jeppies, I wasn't like playing competitively, obviously, but I remember them being a thing, and I can imagine now, knowing what I know, if you lose them, it's a big deal because there's nothing else for you to get.
Yeah.
Also,
Well, neutral
in
farm
solo
is fucking
specifically,
ridiculous at the moment as
what?
well.
Yeah. Much better than invading because if you're not gonna like fine keep invaders cursed, but the invading like debuff that you get from like golden experience, that's really
Yeah,
boring too.
it's fucking dumb. I agree with you.
What I was saying is I used to watch like recently, I think when I can't remember when I was on what team I was on, but I was watching a lot of old FineOK videos because he did a lot of the really basic stuff back in the day, like years and years ago.
Yep.
Talking about like how to lose lane properly. I think that's one of my favorite videos he's put out.
Talk to me about that one before.
Yeah. What I was saying is that if you watch videos from back then, they clear wave. If they can't kill each other, they just rotate the mid.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do.
Yeah, and you might as well be in mid.
Like, fine, go for the jungle's back camps if you want. Proxy, just go mid because there's nothing else to do. But right now, there's so much to do.
Yeah, it's you genuinely like we've talked about this before for recent stuff. Like, if my solo laner is rotating to mid and there's nothing to do, I'll slap him in the fucking face. Like, why are you coming mid right now?
Buffs every 2 minutes, Tiki every minute. I think Sharpies are 2 minutes or 1 minute. Scorpions are every 4 minutes.
Yeah,
that's everything, and then that again on the other side. So you can go for all of those. Back camps every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Every minute?
Back camps every minute.
Yeah. So like there's never ever a reason to not be in solo side.
Yeah. Farming. Like
in top lane, I guess.
Not only that though, like if you're not on that side of the map, you're losing farm. And now you're
it's significantly. Like there have been times where I've rotated I've been even or ahead of my lane, rotated, killed like 4 people. Like maybe not, I didn't get the last hits, but won the fight, killed 4 people, got Gold Fury, and I'm behind now from being even or ahead.
Yep, ridiculous.
Because it's weird. It's a weird thing.
It's purely because there's that much farm over on that side of the map that you need to be doing.
I know I said this before, and I think you shut me down because of it. But I wouldn't hate like more reward for kills. I know that it makes the game like monkey aggression, just slam your head against the other team.
Arena.
But it would make it a bit better. Because like I like the macro aspect, and yeah, it is really, really cool to see a team losing kills and win because their macro is so good. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I really do. And practicing macro is cool, especially as a team. Like I'm getting told, guys, you don't touch your Scorpion. You need to do Scorpion. Like that's a big thing. OCE doesn't do that. We don't touch our Scorpion. Cups are important. That's cool. I really like that, but it's just a bit too much focus.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think like if it were to put it into like a balanced term, because the only time that you want to fight now and get kills is to get an objective, right? And at the moment you've got Gold Fury, you've got Fire Giant. So if you gave us another objective that fits in between those, and obviously Pyromancer, but like if we had another objective to fight over, that would make it worth getting kills.
Yeah.
As opposed to like getting more gold or XP or anything from kill, because I think that would go too far. But like if there was just another reason to fight, something else that you get value out of for fighting, then I'll fight.
I agree.
That's fine.
I think as well. I like the tower buff. I like the tower buff. I like the Phoenix buff. I really like the Titan buff.
I know you can't see me shaking my head, but no.
I can see you shaking your head.
Oh,
I'm looking at you.
No.
Yeah. I like it. I don't like being like, oh, you lose one Phoenix, you still have all your towers up everywhere else, but you just lose. Like that's fine. Okay, to counter that, what I think they should do is either buff EFG or make another make a further enhanced fire.
Yeah, I agree.
At like 40 minutes, because 30 minutes is not long. Because I know this is a casual thing, but definitely have seen competitive game like that one with Chickens and Desto's team, where it was like a 50-minute game or something.
Yeah.
It like first of all, okay, I'll tell you what, the Phoenix thing, I go back on what I said. I don't like the fact that getting the Fire Giant pre 30 minutes just means you lose the fight under Phoenix.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't like that. I'm okay with so maybe the towers. You know what? Fix it. Add plating like League does. Remove the plating at 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever they do.
On the Phoenix.
Do you know? Have you played League?
Minimally. I assume the plating is just extra defense on it for a second.
Yeah, they have like hella prots on towers, so you can't take and you can go through the plating. Yeah. And it but there's a lot. There's like 6 levels of it, and it takes you a long. So it means you can't lose your tower immediately. It also means that you can continuously force waves under the tower.
Yeah.
and the minions won't kill the tower. And then at 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever, the plating falls on its own, and the towers become really easy to kill.
Yeah, vulnerable. That would probably be like generally better for like ADCs. I'd say is probably the best
Yeah.
person for that because you can force, and actually solo laners too, because you're forcing waves under their tower. They're losing gold, but you don't weaken your position by taking their tower because obviously.
Yeah,
once
it also
their
means you
tower's
can't group
down-
up for a 5-minute mid tower and just kill it.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't really happen often, but like if you're losing mid tower really early, it does feel really bad because you're just
Oh,
giving over so much
The
pressure.
second that mid tower is gone, and like if it's gone at like 10 minutes, you've lost so much pressure on the map. It's so fucking hard to recover from that.
And then at least like you won't be doing the stupid like 15-minute Phoenix or like you can't dive towers really early because I still think they should do like decent more damage. Like a solo laner diving tower at 2 minutes to kill somebody is ridiculous. Like I can understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also think that being 25 minutes in, getting a fire giant, and like teams in SPL giving up fire giants at 25 minutes,
to
not even
defend a
showing up.
Phoenix.
It's been like, I would rather go for this XP camp, these 10 XP camps, than fire
make it the
giant,
farm.
and then we just sit under our tower and win the fight.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think that it really does take the player skill out of the game now because
Yeah.
NPCs literally do more damage than a player ever will. Like the Phoenix does so much fucking damage, and
Yeah.
like there's still skill and you have to work around it and that, and it's about adapting to that, I guess. But like some of the most hype moments that we've ever seen, like a defenses under a Phoenix back in the day where Phoenixes didn't do that much damage, but
Yeah,
like
and it's
the
just player
defending
skill instead
team,
of like, oh,
yeah,
the Phoenix was awesome.
they played it intelligently instead of, oh, my support and my solo laner each took 3,000 damage to the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Of course we lost that push.
And then the only way to counter that is to build 6 mitigation items and low-nos and then take 0 damage, but also that's so
not even that,
bullshit.
because at least I have some control over that. The only way to counter it is to have EFG, which means I have to wait until 30 minutes. And if we happen to not get a Phoenix, we have to wait for the next EFG to spawn. And then we have to go there again.
5 minutes.
Like, it's fucked.
40 minutes.
That's why the game goes on for so long. It's impossible to take a Phoenix without EFG now. Like, and if you try to, you've probably lost yourself the fucking game if you lose the fight there.
Yeah, I think 30 minutes is a good game time. I think that if obviously it's we've talked about this before. I don't think that like you should get EFG and then like you can't possibly lose. Like the buff should be so insane that you can't lose. But I think that like you need to be the one who makes a mistake. I think that 30 minutes plus you have to make the mistake to lose. It's a bit ridiculous. 30 minutes is a good game time. 45 minutes is too long.
I'm okay with 45 minutes if it's like a good game.
A really close game.
Minutes.
I agree.
I don't want, and that's the thing. Like the really good slogfest games at the moment are an hour long. Give me a 45-minute slogfest. That's fine. That's enough.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, to be honest, we've got a lot of really, really close teams in OCL, like this season.
Yeah, we do.
It's really good.
I think that that's a big part of it too. Like we definitely have like a very competitive bracket between like the upper side of it and the lower side of it, and it means that the games. If you give me an hour-long game with two teams that are playing really well, I'm a happy boy. So
yeah.
Fuck it. Like I want to see Chickens and Desto's 10-minute microwave miracles go at it for an hour. That's fine. I'll neck myself if I cast for that long, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, it's good to watch. Yeah, it's very, very fun. It's very interesting and kind of funny sometimes. Be like, wow, this is actually really competitive. This is the most competitive we've been. But
for
yeah,
a long time it is. Yeah.
But it's good. It's really good.
I'm excited by. I've said it on the cast before. I've said it to people before, but I am excited by how competitive the bracket is this season.
Well, it's better for out of OCE viewership. Like that's the best thing it's for because fine, it's fun to watch like Cash Money take on the girls, but that's only in OCE reasons. Nobody else knows who any of those players are.
Yep.
Nobody else really cares. So for us, that's really entertaining. But having a bunch of really close teams makes it look more like SPL.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you.
Or even
as well,
SCC, who I think that the top teams could probably play near SCC level. So
yeah,
it
Sharks
makes it look a lot better.
Well.
Yeah, Sharks has said that.
I think like this is a really important thing too. Like the reason that SPL teams are able to improve to the extent that they are, well, there's two big reasons. Number one, obviously, they're at a close enough skill level that they can push each other to improve, and that's obviously a huge thing and something that now we're getting closer to in OCU, which is great. As some of these teams are finally able to match up to OBB at the top. And the second thing as well, and this was mentioned, I think in the Backliners podcast, and I think a few of the casters and for Hires have talked about it before, but like such a big part of SPL team improvement is having players moving between teams, and bringing their knowledge and their experience and that into the team and adapting that team because of it.
Yeah, I
And
know what
like
you mean.
a huge example of that we saw was obviously Pagon coming in and completely changing mid, and everybody had to adapt to that, and like the
That
entire
was
team changed.
alpha, dude. That was so funny.
But like
That
that's
game where Pagon solos Ven, or that set, sorry,
four
he
fucking
solos Ven.
times.
He
First
first
blood
bloods him every
every time.
game.
Yeah, literally like one of the best mid laners in the world.
Yeah, there was a
rolled like a casual game.
casters were like, yeah, fine, this happens. Like, oh wow, my mid laner got first blood again. No, this is a world's MVP.
Yeah.
getting soloed every game for first blood.
First blood. Yep. That's what I'm talking about. And like this season of OCL, we've seen quite a few of the teams change up a fair bit. We've seen a lot of players move around. Like our team's a great example of quite a bit of adaptation there. We've picked up Rana and Regan. We've got half guy in our team now. You look at like Desto's 10-minute microwave miracles. Like you've got Snowy, you've got Vintage, who obviously would have been together, but then you've got Desto. You even look at like Flix's team, who has fucking Furin on it. Like I think that's the sort of thing that we need, where you've got all of these players switching it up and moving between teams and providing their knowledge and adding and growing that pool of knowledge to make all of the players at the end of the day better and all the teams at the end of the day better.
Yeah, it's really also good. Even when we play against like OBB, it's good because I have the like ideology that like what playing against better people does is it, or even like they can be even to you but have like do certain things better.
Yeah.
And you do certain things better than they do. But when someone does something better than you do, it brings out your mistakes. So you can't see them until you play against a team that brings them out.
Yeah, 100%.
And like that's why playing on Puri or like in our old like Man team against League of Legends at the time, it brings out so many mistakes all at once you can't address anything.
Yeah, you can't really look at it
but
like that.
Being able to address things against the top team is really encouraging to like for me and hopefully for everybody, and not even just our team, like
for everyone,
chickens and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like we're finally on the Wyverns team. We're finally like at a high enough level that we can actually pick up on those mistakes now. And you're absolutely right. Like when we're on Man and we were versing those guys, like whether it was a scrim or an actual match, like we absolutely have before in the past like F6 at 10 against that team, because we were that far behind and it was just
there's no point.
What the fuck are we getting out of this? And like we would never do that now. Never.
Have you watched SPL this week? This weekend?
No.
Oh, okay, hold on. I've got to find which one it is. But I'll keep talking while I find the game. There was a game, like I said, I can't remember who it was, but the solo was like 0-7 at like 10 minutes. He ended the game at level 13, and it was like it looked like a Puri game. Like he was so far behind and literally couldn't do anything. It was bizarre in an SPL game.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. What the fuck?
It looked awful. Like it felt.
You just simply do not expect to see that at all.
It was But while I find this, what is really fun? Seeing Rangdas being picked up.
Seeing Rangdas being picked up, yeah. I think like Vintage.
Yeah, like Guardian mids and shit. That's awesome.
Vintage is like definitely the one doing that the most in OC as well. And yeah, it's exciting. I love it. I love that it's definitely punishable. Like again, specifically Vintage. Like we've punished him for doing that before. I think he played some Wukong, and we definitely punished him for going Rangdas Wukong. But I think that it's definitely got a place in the meta. It's exciting. It's buildable. Like that's good. I love that.
Well, it's one of those things, right, that we were talking about before with the hammers, where I think it's a good thing for the game. It's exciting. It makes the game interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that the masks are probably one of the only items that have come in the recent years that, other than maybe the new ones, like the Sphinx's Bauble is the only other item I can think of. But those are the only items that are actually exciting and have adapted the meta in a fun way.
I really want more items. I wish they would stop. I kind of wish they would stop focusing on glyphs and add new items.
Add new items, bro. Like Sphinx's Bauble was a great idea, and it's the most exciting the game has been in ages because of it. And it's not in the fucking game now.
Fucking disabled.
For the 1 week that we had it, that was the most exciting week of my fucking Smite life.
So I have the game. It's Scary D is 0-8
Again,
on
too.
Cullen. He's 22 minutes in at level 15 for a hyper farm lane. Like he should just be sitting in there farming.
Yeah.
And he just literally cannot do anything.
Yeah, you hate to see that. Scarity's such a good solo laner as well. You don't expect that from him at all.
No, he got floored that game. To
was
be
it
fair,
against?
Titans.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna get up this clip. For you of just really bad play at the beginning of the game, and this is what started. This is, to me, if I'm him, this is game over. Like from this point on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to like add this clip in post or something.
Maybe I will.
But share my screen. Alright, so okay, here we go. Okay, so they do the Tiki start in jungle, right? The Kraken has Rangers and hits level 2 because he like full clears away, but he's really low. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is all the new jungler's fault, by the way, not Scary D's, which is not surprising because Scream left and they don't have a jungler. But
yep.
So Oath comes and splits the last 2 minions under his tower.
Yeah, that fucks him already.
So he doesn't hit 2.
Yeah. He's already fucked at that point. Like how
he rages, and then they go to fight over Tiki.
Yeah.
And he walks in. Watch how fast he dies.
I mean, he's already wasted most of his rage as well.
Look where Oath is.
Yeah, he's not even in that. Oh, he got body blocked so hard by layers, bro.
Look at his face.
Yeah, I'd be shitty about that, bro. That's ridiculous.
Oh, dude, it's so bad.
Yeah, you hate to see that.
Guys, Tiki's up.
Yeah, better fight over that one at level 1 when we're both level 1.
I don't even hate the fight. I like the fight. It's interesting. It's just that was the worst decision I've ever seen. The jungler goes,
takes his minions so he can't hit level 2.
So he doesn't hit 2, and Cullen has if he has 2, he can stun Kraken out of tremors. They probably kill.
They probably win that fight then.
That's so dumb.
It's insane. We also saw like Scaredy wasted the vast majority of his rage as well. So like he came into that probably more than halfway out of it.
Yeah. That's really unfortunate.
It is.
Bit of unlucky timing. I think what happened is that he goes to clear the wave. And he's like, oh, whatever, it's fucking Rangers, Kraken. I'll just sit back, let the wave hit my tower. I'll rage next wave, and then I'll be able to clear it. But then the jungler's like, no, fight over Tiki.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll take your farm.
But the wave's under my tower. Like, what do you want me to do?
What am I supposed to do?
Because he can won the wave, wait for Kraken to tremor, 3 him, and then just go back to hitting the wave, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And then he de-transforms, gets another kit, and he's fine to clear the wave there. But yeah, it's just so stupid. I'm actually really excited to see Scream on the Dragons as well, side note.
Yeah, I think that he's going to do well there. I think that's a good pickup.
I think it's going to be, I hope so, it's one of those situations that we were talking about where a good player on a bad team doesn't look good.
Yeah. I think as well, like Scream is going to bring a lot back to that team as well, and like a lot of good changes that they could pick up on. So we'll have to see. I think though that this is probably long enough now.
Yeah, so 54 minutes first time.
Yeah, I think that we can close it out there. Any final words that you want to say, Jbetto? Any shout outs?
Shout out Puri, but original Puri, not this Puri.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out. I think Dylan, and he's coming back and playing.
He is
potentially.
Who's that? Sorry, I've never heard that name before.
Yeah, no, neither. No idea who I'm talking about.
Shout out to Zebedee.
Yeah, Zebedee.
It is good to see him coming back
playing
and helping out Fury a little bit.
That's all. That's basically it. I don't have any shout outs.
Okay, that's fine. Neither do I. I hate everybody in OCA, so put that in my podcast. Anyway, thank you all for listening or watching, however you decided to do this. Yeah, fuck it. Quick shout out not shout out, but quick plug. Obviously, if you're observing this, you're doing it on YouTube, so thanks for being here. But also, we stream every game of Smite OCL over on twitch.tv/Smite OCL, and we also have our Twitter OCL Smite that you can go and follow as well. So
and Instagram,
help us out, and our Instagram, which is Smite OCL, I think.
Yeah.
So give us a follow and a like, and thanks for watching/listening.